Morning, everybody. Hopefully, everyone's doing fine. Let me adjust some stuff here real quick. I got to make sure I'm centered on the camera here. There we go. Nice, better, much better. I noticed that the date got switched up for some reason. I don't know if it was because it was late at night when I set it up, which is more than likely what the case was, that I wasn't watching the date, but we're not obviously live tomorrow. We're live. We're live now. So what we're gonna talk about today, however, is one of those things that leaves you confused as to how people can possibly think what these people think, but at the same time, you have to understand why they think the way they think. And so we're gonna try and see if we can figure out why they think the way they think. This particular sentiment we talked about yesterday, how people um, may not notice that they're adopting this mindset of forgiving God for something. And so we're going to dabble into two different things. We're going to dabble into how people, regular, who don't ascribe to it out loud, this idea of forgiving Jesus or forgiving God. And then the other side is us, who say things like, why? Why, God? Why? And we question. We may not see it as bad, but it is. It actually clearly is. Um, we don't like to admit that. We really don't. But in the grand scheme of things, it's probably one of the crazier things that we do, and we don't realize it. So we're going to investigate this particular thing. The first two people are members and former members of Bethel. Bethel is known for their interesting views about God, and they always tell you that Jesus has come to visit them, and they always have visitations. They always somehow encounter the man somewhere in real life, personally, directly, like tangibly. I'm not sure how they do that, but they do. So we're going to listen to them first, and then we're going to listen to another guy that will give you the insight into the other portion where we question God a certain way and not realize that we are trying to say we forgive you, God, for allowing or doing something. So it's a twofold thing we're going to talk about. But the first one is the most, I would say, angering. Let's go with that. It's the most angering of the two. So just listen to it, and then we'll catch up. It's not that long.
Pastors say some things that hurt me really bad. Hurt me so bad, messed me up emotionally, mentally, really messed me up. Nothing physical, nothing like that. A pastor I really respected said some words and hurt me so bad. And one time I was laying on the floor. Actually, it was in this room. I'm laying on the floor, and in a vision, in an encounter with God, in a vision, Jesus picks me up and holds me so close that I can't see anything. And he holds me so close, and Jesus starts to weep, and he says, "Please forgive me."
I want people to get the real crazy portion to that statement. I want you to understand the real crazy portion to that statement, because in order for someone to need your forgiveness, they have to do something that would be either wrong in their action or wrong to you or wrong in how you perceived it. So they would need to apologize. Either way, there is a wrong being done by the person asking you for forgiveness. To assume that would mean that Jesus in that place sinned. Now, here's my question. Can he? Can he? Can Jesus sin? Did he ever? And if he appeared to you in a vision, when exactly did he sin? Now he's going to tell you why Jesus asked for this dude's forgiveness. Listen.
Please forgive me. I said, what are you talking about? Please forgive.
How do you okay, and secondly, I love how casually they talk to God. Like, what are you talking about? You remember we spoke some time back about reverence and the lack of reverence. This is clearly the result of natural lack of reverence for God. The mere fact that you think that in a vision you could just look square and say, "What are you talking about?" Because this is where we got to. Jesus is my friend. I have a friend in Jesus. God is my friend. He calls me friend. And of course, you would talk to your friend like that. But this is how we've trivialized the hierarchy. We think we're on par. We're on the same level, on the same platform as God. That's what we believe. Honestly, people believe that you can talk to him anyhow you want. And I'm not saying you can't tell God everything. I am telling you, you can't talk to him anyhow you would like. These people have no reverence for him at all. Zero, zilch, none, nada. They don't understand their place before him. They really don't. Because if they did, this would not be the reaction or even the conversation he could even dream about. You could not dream this nonsense up, but they do. They do. I'll let him continue, though.
You. He said, when that pastor hurt you, it's as if I hurt you. Because
When that pastor hurt you, was like if I hurt you? What? How does that make any sense? So now Jesus is talking to you and is taking blame for someone not behaving like him? If someone doesn't behave in the nature of Christ, that is not an indictment of Christ. That's an indictment of the person. Jesus would never have to apologize for that at all. Like in no way, shape, form, or fashion.
he's a member of my body.
If he was a member of the body of Christ, there is no way. And Jesus is talking to you, and Jesus acknowledges that this man is a part of his body. There is no way the person could hurt you. Zero, zilch. If Jesus came to you to talk to you directly and tells you sorry for somebody that is a part of his body, and he's telling you this to your face, I'm gonna go on a limb and say that wasn't Jesus. That wasn't Jesus, bro. That was something else, but it wasn't Jesus. That man, look, that wasn't Jesus at all, bro. At all. You entertaining something, but it it ain't him.
Please forgive me.
Up not long after I got there, I ended up having this encounter. Well, no, I ended up having what I now know to be natural deliverance. Okay, so much Jesus was going in, and all of a sudden, to me, it felt like I got connected to all of this rage, and I started screaming and yelling and cussing and throwing stuff. And
Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, okay, okay. Let's back this train all the way up real quick. Let's just take a little bit of a break here. Let's back up. Back up, back up, back up. I'm going to start her statement all the way over, and I want you to hear it. Okay? She's attributing her behavior. Okay, let's do this again.
Natural deliverance. Okay, so much Jesus was going in.
So much Jesus was going in. Okay, Jesus was going in. Okay.
And all of a sudden, to me, it felt like I got connected to all of this rage.
So all of a sudden, to you, it felt like you got connected to all of this rage. So Jesus was going in, and that produced rage. Now, the only thing I could think of, if I were to give her an excuse, it would be, oh, Jesus went in, and all the demons you had, while still being a minister, by the way, she was a minister when all this took place, all the demons you had started to flee out of you, and you verbally expressed the demons leaving. That's the only excuse I can give you.
And I started screaming and yelling and cussing and throwing stuff. And now I know it was actually the demons leaving.
Oh, so it wasn't. Oh my goodness, bro. All of a sudden, the demons were leaving. Let me get this right. You had been a minister preaching about God. And then all of a sudden you had a delivery and some deliverance, and a whole bunch of demons came out of you to the point where you were cussing, screaming, angry, and throwing stuff around. You had, now, if I remember correctly, the book they say they read, it said no one can enter a strong man's house, right? He has to subdue the strong man first. How are you preaching with that many demons in you, girl? To the point where all this Jesus is coming in and nothing but demons coming out. Where was Jesus before all this? Was he just wasn't there? He wasn't around. He didn't enter before. You were functioning on something else. What is it? Please make it make sense. No, if she is anything, she's an alternate universe Marilyn Monroe. Probably from the planet I Eat Too Much. That's the planet she would be from, a planet I Eat Too Much.
Yeah. And after that happened, I literally, I've never experienced anything like it. Mm-hmm. I was spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically exhausted, like nothing left in me. And I passed out on my bed. And that is when Jesus became real for me, because
Okay.
Jesus walked in there and laid in that bed with me and started to play with my hair. And
whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, what? wait, 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 wait. You just said that you felt him enter. So it was just a feeling. It was just a feeling. You passed out, and then all of a sudden, now Jesus is there in human form. Doing what now?
And laid in that bed with me and started to play with my hair. And instead of telling me all the things I needed to fix, he said, I am so sorry for all the things that happened to you that made you not want to feel.
What? Wowee. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. I hope people understand that if you're going to tell a lie, just try and keep your lies at least believable at one point, believable, and two, consistent. First, you say you felt so much Jesus that you went into a rage and everything came out. All the demons came out to the point where you were exhausted physically, mentally, spiritually, all of it. Eventually, you were exhausted. You passed out. So then Jesus shows up again after you passed out and started to play in your hair while lying on a bed next to you and tells you he's sorry that you had to go through so much. But why would he be sorry you had to go through so much if it was beneficial to you to get rid of all the demons? I have to hear you say that again because I'm confused.
To fix. He said, I am so sorry for all the things that happened to you that made you not want to feel.
I'm sorry for all the things you've been through that makes you not want to feel. Is God a feeling? Has Christianity become how you feel now? Has Christianity become a feeling? Well, apparently to her it is. It's a feeling. It's how you express yourself. And look, you've heard that before, right? That you tell you that the spiritual awakening thing and the Holy Spirit is what you feel and how you react. And this is why I keep saying that all these titles that people have for their following, this charismatic and the Presbyterian and all this nonsense, is a simple excuse to behave how you want to behave and ascribe it to God. I don't care what anybody tells me. If you think that you're a charismatic, you're crazy. I'm going to say it out loud. You are a moron. You know why? Because you put feeling above fact. And your whole life's work will be about how you feel and how you can express. That is not God. You're a clown. And you operate in a clown's world. You're a circus freak. None of that is listed anywhere in the book you say you read, like at all. But it feels good. It makes you feel like you're connected to God. So as long as you feel it, it's real. You know what happens when you stop feeling? You feel like you're not connected to God anymore, which means that you aren't connected at all. You're putting all of your emphasis on you and nothing on him. That's what the charismatic movement is. And I don't care who disagrees. You can get mad all you want. I don't care. Your entire movement is based on you, not him. It's no different than the religious right that all these people feel about the law, do. You're just as stupid as them. The only difference is that you feel all that you, here's it. One feels and one does. Neither one relies on actual God work. None of it. The same people that will say, I'm a little God, are no different than the ones that feel. No different. No different. God is not a feeling. And he definitely is not one that requires you to fulfill the law. That's what he did through his son. Your job is to enter into the done work. You don't want to do that because you have to gauge all your stuff by yourself. You don't want him to do it because you feel you're better than him. That is the bottom line. You honestly think that you're better than God and can do it all. You don't need him. He needs you. And you don't have to admit it, but you prove it every time you talk. You prove it every time you do something stupid like this lady is doing. Because you have to go to the next level of retardation in order for people to believe you. You have to go to that next level. You can't just stay, oh, I feel the presence of God and I feel. You have to now go to an extreme to make people believe that what you're feeling is real. Oh, Jesus showed up. Oh, yeah. No, I actually felt God touch me. Yeah. In fact, I saw him lie down on the bed next to me. Not only that, he touched my hair. Yeah, he stroked my hair and assured me that he was wrong for allowing me to go through all this stuff. That is what they do. The other side is, you better do this or he will never be able to connect with you. You better do this or he will never Everything is about self, whether that be in the feeling or in the act. They do not want God to be God at all. They don't. And here's how we fall victim to it. We don't fall victim in the mass sense in terms of going all the way overboard. But every time you feel yourself going through something and you have to say, why? The answer will always be because. There are two reasons why things still happen to people. And they always ask, well, why do bad things happen to good people? Because you live. This is life. It is not what happens to you, it's how you react to it. It is not what happens. Because trust and believe me, this world is fraught with all kinds of crap. And regardless of what you do, you're in the presence of it and it will affect you one way or another. Because there are other people, other things happening on this earth. There are people, there are entities all the time. Why is it that we always ask God why? When you know you're living in a fallen world, what is the why needed for? The why is because you're in a fallen world. You want to be exempt? You want to be exempt from hardship. You want to be exempt from this. You want to be exempt from that. You're not. No one is. We are not exempt from trouble. We're not exempt from pain. We're not exempt from death. You're not going to be exempt from it. But you can indeed switch your focus. You can change your focus and realize, you know what, God? I have you. That's all I need. I'm going through crap, but I have you. They don't want to approach it like that. I might have you, but you don't need jack squat. You have him. If you would just simply focus on the fact that you have him, you know what won't affect you so hard? Your hardship. There was a song, Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus. You remember that song? It's an older song. This is the chorus part. Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full on his wonderful face, and the things of earth will go strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. We used to sing that all the time, but I don't think we fully understood that. We love to focus on our hardship. We love to focus on what we're going through. We love it. You know why? Because we become the object. We even take hardships to make us feel as though we are indeed that special. The more we go through, the more special we feel. And we'll take stories like Job. Oh, the devil must have gone to God and said, yeah, I'm doing so good. He gonna put me on some hardship. I can't wait to see how much awesome I am. But that wasn't even the case with Job. Even Job, when he went through what he went through, had people around him that started to blame not just him, but God. God had to show up, slap him across the face, and say, yo, 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 who do you think you are? Who do any of you think you are? Do you realize how quickly Job got humbled? Did Job ever look at God and say, what were you talking about? Like, we're friends. What do you mean? He didn't know, wasn't anything like that. We have lost respect, and with respect goes all reverence. Without reverence, you will look at life as though you are the object. And once you become the object, he is of no consequence. That's what happens with these people. They believe they are the arbiter of all things good. And when I feel good, God's present. When I don't feel good, God's not present. God doesn't function in feels. God doesn't function in your feelings. And your feeling about God does not change who he is. It doesn't enhance and it doesn't detract. He will be who he is, regardless of how you feel. He is not interested in how you feel. He is interested in what you know about him. He is interested in the time you spend with him. That's what he's interested in. And he's also mostly interested in making sure you put him in his rightful place. And that is not next to you, that is above you. That's above you. We should know our place. We have forgotten our place, and we have really, really, really fallen on our behinds because of that. Now, what you're going to hear next is what will be the result of having the mindset of the first two people. It will be an automatic later reaction to, if you keep that mindset up, you'll hear what will be the end result. Okay? This will be the end result.
Who's the biggest failure in the Bible? God is. What'd you say?
You know, everybody asks you, say, who's the biggest failure? They say, Judas. Somebody else will say, no, I believe it's Adam. Well, how about the devil? He's the most consistent failure.
Okay.
But he's not the biggest in terms of material failure and so forth. The biggest one in the whole Bible is God. Oh, what? Don't you turn that set off. You listen to it. I told you now, you sit still a minute. You know me well enough to know I wouldn't tell something that I can't prove in the Bible. He lost his top-ranking, most anointed angel, the first man he ever created, first woman he ever created, the whole earth, and all the fullness therein, a third of the angels at least. That's a big loss, man. I mean, you figure all that, that's a lot of real estate, brother. Gone down the drain. Now, the reason you don't think of God as a failure is he ain't never said he's a failure. No. And you're not a failure till you say you won.
This is the danger of losing reverence. That is the danger of losing reverence. When you forget your place, You start to create a God for yourself that has no semblance to the real God. And you start to interpret things you read in the mindset that you are the object, not him. And so everything done in the book that you see will be a means to getting you. You are the prize, not him, you. When everything in the Bible shows how much he loves, not how important you are, how much he loves. And in turn, you should be like, man, that is true. I get to serve him. It's the opposite anymore. He serves me. I must be worth a lot. I must mean a lot to him. No, he is true love. And he created a way for you to experience him in his fullness. His true fullness later on, partial fullness now. It is not about you. It is about him. We have forgotten that. We've completely forgotten it. And that is, to me, I think that is the worst of the worst. It's the worst of the worst. Now, what you're going to hear next is the softer version to this is the gateway portion where we fall in. First, you heard the extreme in the feeling, then the extreme in the putting the self and what I can do. And now you're going to hear the bridge between the two and how one gets to the other. And this is where most people hang out until they get to where Copeland is. What you're going to hear is where most Christians hang out. And I mean most will hang out, dangerously hang out until they get to where Copeland is. Let me know if you can hear it.
In today's YouTube teaching, when God offends you, learning to forgive God.
Can you hear that? Please let me know if you can hear it okay. I don't want to proceed unless I know you can hear. Because the last time I played something, remember you got that garbled sound. Make sure you can hear it loud and clear, because what this clown is going to say next, just the title alone, and you're going to see two things that this is, again, when you read, that's good. When you listen to other people read and you don't read yourself, problems. Just watch what he does. Just watch.
Is the subject. And I don't know if you look at this, you're probably saying to yourself, what do you mean about God offending you and learning to forgive God? There are things that happen in life to good people, and it can.
Right there. Now, what does the Bible say about people? Please tell me what the Bible says about people. Tell me if what he just said is biblically true. It is not biblically true at all. We will go to Mark 10. And in Mark 10, we'll go to 17. Now, as he was going along the road, one came running, knelt before him, and asked him, "Good teacher, what shall I do that I may inherit eternal life?" So Jesus said to him, "Why do you call me good? No one is good but one, that is God. You know the commandments: do not commit adultery, do not murder, do not steal, do not bear false witness, do not defraud, honor your father and your mother." And he answered and said, "Teacher, all these I have kept from my youth." And Jesus said, looking at him, loved him and said, "One thing you lack. Go away, sell whatever you have, give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And come, take up your cross and follow me." But he was sad at this word and went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. So people say, well, that proves that he's not God. What he was really telling the young ruler is, you're calling me good, but I don't think you realize who I am. Because if you did, you'd realize you'd be calling me good because of who I was, not because I'm a teacher. But he also rebuked him and said, I can't possibly be good because I'm, in your eyes, a man. No man is good. But this is what we like to do in the interim. I feel because I'm okay, I'm fairly good, and God is the loser because he needs me. You see how the bridge happens? I feel it, I accept it, and I go overboard.
It can be the death of a child. It can be coming down with a disease when you're just trying to do the right thing. It could be a missionary overseas that you send and they're martyred. And there are things that happen that make no rational sense or you do not have an answer for.
The answer is life. The answer is a fallen earth, world fallen. You get this yet? We keep expecting all these amazing, wonderful, good things to happen in a fallen world, when he told you it would end. How do we keep expecting all this grandiose stuff to happen? It takes away from actually depending on God. Because if you have something always good happen to you, you know what starts happening? You forget. You forget. And we also forget that he did not promise you easy. He promised you persecution. He promised you trouble. He promised you everything that modern Christianity tells you you'll avoid if you follow God, which is the stupidest thing ever. This is why I keep telling people to read. Read it yourself. God never told you that life would be hunky-dory once you became a follower. None, absolutely none of the folks in the Bible that we revere as great men had an easy life. Not a single one of them. Some were boiled in oil, sawn in two, imprisoned for life, died in prison, decapitated, crucified upside down, stoned. Are you willing to get all that too? No, you want all the blessing. You don't want none of the bad stuff to happen to you because I'm a good person. No, you're trash. You are garbage. We are trash before the ever-living God. That's what we are. Whatever we get, it is deserved in the flesh. It is deserved, which is why we don't live there. But all these moronic so-called preachers, these retards that come out of the woodworks telling you all this crap about you're going to get and you're going to get and you're going to get blessings upon blessings upon blessings upon blessings. Where in the book is it? It's not there. And they fool many. And yes, I did call them retards and fools because they lie. It is what they are. Retards and fools is what they are. I'm not going to apologize for that. It's what they are. You blatantly lie on something that is easily seen. It is not even that difficult to see. We want all the benefits of heaven while living here. In the physical, we wanted a physical heaven. And you got clowns like this. I wonder why this is happening. I'm such a good guy. How are you good? Because you're trying to do good? Again, you see the process? I feel I'm good. I do good. I must be so good that God pales in comparison to me. Because you know why? If I'm so good, why are bad things happening to me? And I have to question God now about why bad things are happening to me. You're questioning the God about why things are happening to you. Anyway, continue.
And when this begins to happen to you, it's easy to get offended at the Lord and ask him, I don't understand what's going on, why, and even put a blame on him. Now, let me give you a story. In the time of the New Testament, John the Baptist was the forerunner to Christ. John the Baptist had already said publicly, behold, the Lamb of God that takes away the sins of the world. He already said publicly, Jesus must increase, but I must decrease. He already said publicly, Jesus will come. He's mightier than I, whose shoes I'm not worthy to even unloose. He'll baptize you with the Holy Spirit and fire. So John already knew he was to prepare the way, then get out of the way.
Okay, now listen carefully. John understood that. You realize where John put himself? Where did John put himself? Where did John the Baptist put himself? John did not put himself on par with Christ. Not even close. I can't even touch dude's shoes. But this fool, listen to what he will say after saying that about John, and watch what he reads and what he inserts, because you will change one word when reading it, and it's blatantly in front of you. That's not the word there, but he'll change it and changes the entire meaning. He will just watch, which is why I tell you it is imperative that we read for ourselves, and you take the time to read for yourself. Watch carefully what he does.
However, John is arrested. And when John is arrested, he sends his disciples to Jesus, and he asks them to ask this question to Jesus: are you the one, or should we look for another? Now, he's already gave these prophecies. He's already told everybody who Jesus is. He knows who Christ is, the Messiah.
He knows who's coming. John was never assured of who, but he knows what the Messiah would be doing. He sent people to be assured that Jesus was who he was speaking about. And it is answered by Jesus himself by sending back the messengers to go tell John. Now, this is where you will see how people like him will take the word when you're not aware of what it says and will skew it with just the insertion of one word and the removal of another, because they know exactly what they're doing. This is not by accident. He knows exactly what he's about to do, and he's banking on you being stupid enough to believe him and not go read for yourself. Watch.
But in prison, he's sending Jesus a coded message. Now, here's the point. If Jesus is the one, John has to accept whatever's coming to him. But if Jesus is not the one, Jesus has the authority and power in the supernatural world to help John get out of prison.
What? Do you hear how stupid that is? But people will think he's saying something so profound. I'm going to back it up for you to hear exactly what he just said. Now, you can chalk it up to he misspoke. Let's find out.
But if Jesus is not the one, John has to accept whatever's coming to him. Wait, if Jesus is the one, John has to accept whatever's coming to him.
Okay, so if Jesus sends back, yes, I'm him, John has to accept it. Listen carefully. John has to accept it if Christ is the one. Listen carefully to what he says next.
But if Jesus is not the
If
one,
Jesus is not the one, he's not the Christ,
Jesus has the authority and power in the supernatural world to help John get out of prison.
how? How? If he is not the Christ, what supernatural powers does he possess, you absolute tool bag? What? If he is not the Christ, how does he possess any power to do anything on behalf of John? How? Please tell me how. If he is the one, he has no power. John has to accept it. If he is not, all of a sudden he has the power. I tell you, these people, that's not the worst of it. That is not the worst of it. Wait.
And then they can together wait for the one.
They can together wait for the one, but he has supernatural powers to get him out of prison. He is proof that age doesn't always bring wisdom. That's what he proves. Age is not equal to wisdom. Now,
Jesus answered John in a very strange way.
how is this strange? Wait for it. Wait.
He said, John, or he's told the disciples, you go tell John.
Okay, let's read this before he gets to it. I'm going to let you guys have time to read what this passage says. When you finish reading, just put in the chat, done. When you are done reading this, just type done. Okay? If you have to read it twice, read it twice. If you have to read it twice, read it twice. And I want you to pay special attention to verse 6. Pay attention to verse 6. And when you've done paying attention to verse 6, we will continue with his stupidity. You're done? Good. Y'all figured out verse 6, right? Good. Y'all see the words written on the screen. He put this up. He did. Okay, let him continue.
The blind are seeing, the deaf are hearing, and the lame are walking. And then Jesus makes this statement. It's in the four Gospels.
Listen.
Also tell John, blessed is he who is not offended in me.
Is that what it says? Is that what it says? Does that verse say, blessed is he who is not offended in me? Is that what it says? The word in and because are not the same. But he puts the word in. You know why he puts the word in? To create for the audience his point about being offended because of, rather, on behalf of, rather, by Christ. Do you see the bridge he built? It says because, meaning people are going to see you and you might be offended because of Christ, not in, because of. Because of. He just took that word all the way out and put in, meaning Christ himself will be an offense to you. And what he does will offend you. He's talking to John, by the way. This is God talking to John, who was sent before Christ. John was sent. John knew he was sent. John knew. He just switched the entire premise of this. The entire premise, he switched it off. And he knows exactly what he did. And he'll explain what he did. Watch.
What was Jesus trying to tell John? He was trying to say, John, here's the point. I have to increase. You have to decrease. You are on the decrease now as being the forerunner, because now my voice is out there. My miracles are out there. John, I know that you want me to go in there and release you from prison, but I'm not going to be able to do it.
Where in the book is that? Where is that? Where did John ever say, I want to be free? Where? Please tell me, where did John ever say that? Where did we ever get the idea that John was hoping that Jesus would come and release him from prison? Where did we ever get that idea from? Jesus's message back to John was to assure John that what you did is accepted now. You did your job. I am now here. This is what is taking place because of you. Because you were diligent in doing what you had to do. But all of a sudden, he inserts that, hey, John was hoping that if it was him, yeah, now he can come release me from prison. You know how I know that not to be true? Do you remember when Paul was in prison? Do you remember when any of them went to prison? Did any of them rush out to say, please release me, God, release me? Did any of them do that? No. And you're trying to tell me John would be like, yeah, I hope that's Jesus. If it was the Messiah, then he better come release me because I've done what I had to do. You see what I mean by them trying to put emphasis on people being the linchpin to all of this? It's intentional. It is intentional. They know exactly what they're doing. It's not even hidden anymore. They know what they're doing. They know. They know exactly what they're doing. This is not accidental. It is not accidental. I get so fed up with this. I get so fed up. The reason I get fed up is because many people will listen to these people and be completely fine. Now, I remember reading someone in the comment section saying, well, he was reading from the King James. So I want to read from the King James. So we get this correctly. See what exactly he was reading. Okay? Now he says he was reading from Matthew 11, okay? And blatantly on his screen it says the New King James, right? Okay. So let's go there. And let's read how it is listed and written out in the King James, okay? Let's see how it's phrased. If the word in is used, let's see how he phrased the word in. Let's see. Because that's, again, it'll be vital to know. Jesus answered them and said, go and shew John again these things which you do hear and see. The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised up, the poor have the gospel preached to them, and blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. Now, is that saying that you can be offended in the person of Christ? Or is it telling you you should not be offended while in him? Again, people, when you read these books and you read everything, you have to understand the person of Christ. It says, and blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. You're in Christ. How are you going to be offended? By the things listed before: the blind, the sick, the lepers. It is not that Christ will offend you and you need to forgive him. Nothing of the sort has ever been said. Not by Christ, not by the old prophets, not by anyone. There has never been a point in the book where any such thing has ever been spoken of Jesus, where you should forgive him. Here's why you know that. He was perfect. There is nothing to forgive someone for if they are perfect. It is that simple to read the book. You know the person, you can understand the context. But when you are more important than the person that you're reading about, you will insert yourself everywhere and become way more important than him. This is why people like that guy is absolutely stupid. It is not difficult, people, to understand this much. And if you don't want to believe that Christ was perfect, that is entirely up to you. Again, it doesn't change truth. It just makes you a moron. It makes you deluded. It makes you blind. But you have the right to be stupid. It's okay. You can be stupid. Feel free to be a dummy. Ain't nobody stopping you from being that because you chose it. But you can't then say that what you're saying is true, because it's not. And just because you think it's true to you does not mean it's true in reality. You don't have to like it either. Everybody thinks that God is supposed to make something work out for them, especially when they read, and it works all things for the good of those who are called and are called to the. That's what they want to hear. It works out for the good. What is good? Let me ask you this. What is good? What's good? Because in the same book, it says, consider it what? Pure joy when you face what? Well, you don't want the trial. You want the end of the trial, but you don't want the trial. You see what I mean by not reading with the idea of the truth in mind? we don't actually want to revere God in his position. We want God to commend us for doing something. Whenever you feel the need to say, why me? The answer is right in front of you. And the answer is because. The question more is, what are you going to do in the midst of that? Why do we always expect the benefits? Always. And we don't want any of the trial. We don't want no hardship. We don't want nothing bad to happen. Yet still we read in the book that this is all as a result of our fall. We learn from day one of creation that the rest of the world is now corrupted because of Adam. We learn this. Yet still, having known all that, we still want to question why stupid stuff happens. We know death is part of our living. We know death is coming. And still, when people die, you want to know why? Look, I'm guilty of it. I told you all I'm guilty of it when my father passed. I hated God. I cursed at him. I turned my back on him. You know why? Because I was ignorant. I was not one that had the truth in me. So I blamed the person I thought was less than me. And I wouldn't want to say out loud, I'm more than you, God. But I did think I was more than him if I'm questioning him. If I question him, I do think he's less than me. If I have to ask him why is this happening? I do think I'm better than him. I think I'm not worth going through that. I think I'm above going through that. I shouldn't go through it because of who I am. That's what you're thinking. Don't forget that Christ went through much more and he endured death. And you think you're exempt? He went through betrayal. He went through denial. He went through abuse. He went through beatings. He went through a scourging. And you think that somehow you shouldn't go through anything? Who are you? Who are we to think we shouldn't be going through Jack? If anything, you deserve it. He didn't. If anything, he is the one person that could afford to make sure you go through all of it plus more. Who do we think we are to question him? And then to demand from him an answer. And then demand that we don't go through stuff. And demand a blessing. You have to be a separate kind of stupid to think that. Unfortunately, we are a separate kind of stupid. Even though he told you throughout the whole book, your ways are not my ways. My knowledge is not your knowledge. I'm above you in every single way. And you still think you can come to him sideways? Look, we are. When he said it is a fearful thing to fall into the hand of the living God, he did not joke about that. But there are people who purposefully put themselves in that position and think that they're doing something to enhance faith. Look, I don't understand it myself. Now that I'm past the questioning. But when I think back at how far down that road I went, I am eternally grateful he gave me a chance to come back. Like, I'm dead serious. I am eternally grateful he even gave me enough time on earth to come back. Because I'm telling you now, every action I took was a direct affront to him. Every one of them. I hated him. I cursed at him. I turned my back on him. I blamed him. I did all of that. I will be upfront and tell everybody that I did that for most of my youth and most of my adult life. I did that. 80% of my life, I lived hating God. If I live another 30 years, it would be half my life I spent blaming God. I would have to be 77 years old before I get to about halfway of my life where I did not blame God for stuff. And he gave me even one day more to be forgiven. He gave me one day more. And since that one day more, it became 2 days, it became 3, it became 4, it became a year. And the more I look back and realize that he didn't have to, simply by merit of what I said to him, I'm grateful. Yet still we have people in the pulpit doing it and saying it's in his name. And then we have the opposite of telling you that you are the prize. And all he wants to do is bless upon blessing. Why would you change if you're getting blessed as you are? There's no need to. You've been told God will take you anyhow. Now, I know I've told people you need to be honest with him too, though. If you're in a place right now where you think that God is to blame, be frank and tell him that. No, tell him. Tell him that you blame him for everything. Go ahead. But then remember this. If that is how you feel, and he is to blame for everything that's happened to you, do you think it wise to antagonize? Hear me out. If I know there's a lion behind a fence, the lion is a beautiful lion, great to look upon, and I go against the fence and I press on the fence, and the lion takes that as aggressive, and it grabs my shirt and rips it, and I pull away. Would it be wise for me to go over the fence then to get my piece of shirt and tell him, "Who do you think you are, you stupid lion, trying to pull my shirt"? Would that be wise? Or should I say, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, I should probably have not leaned against the fence because it's a lion. And I have to respect the fact that it's a lion. And I am no match for a lion. And that lion could devour me in one bite. That could happen to me. So maybe it behooves me to honor the fact that it's a lion and I'm a human. It can run faster than me. It is stronger than 5 of me. It is quicker, better reflex. It's got way more weapons on it naturally than I do. Why would I antagonize a lion? But here we are like stupid humans antagonizing a lion because it looks beautiful. And I don't think it would do anything. It's behind a fence. He is a lion and a lamb. But we keep thinking, lamb, 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 lamb. Don't forget the lion part. Do not forget the lion part. Don't forget the wrath side. You can abuse a lamb. You will be very hard pressed. You will be very hard pressed to take out a lion. We need to get back to reverence. We need to get back to awe. We need to get back to our place. We need to know our place. I saw this one video. This guy was in front of a lion's cage. And the lion was just standing there looking at him. And he came down to the lion's level and looked at the lion. And then he did the one stupid thing of putting his hand in the fence. He did like this and grabbed the fence. Not slowly, quickly grabbed the fence. That lion pounced whoop, straight to the fence and grabbed the fingers on one side. And there's this dude fighting to get his hand back from the lion and pulling and pulling and pulling. Eventually, the lion never let go, but he got loose. The man did. After the lion took one of his fingers and dragged every sinew with that finger. So not only did he lose a limb, he lost everything going all the way back up his arm. Now, an intelligent person would be like, don't antagonize a lion. But a dummy would be like, he's behind the fence, I'm fine. God's up there, he ain't gonna do nothing. Then you lose a finger and you act like a fool, like, how did that happen? I don't know, maybe you antagonized the lion and thought that maybe perhaps you were better than the lion because somehow you thought you were untouchable. You're not untouchable. You're not untouchable. And unlike a regular lion here on earth, that particular lion can get to you anywhere. It behooves you to stay humble before him and understand who we are and who he is. It behooves us to know that. The flip side is one way or another, we're going to find out. Whether now or Judgment Day, you're going to find out. Whether now or when you die, you're going to find out. You have time now. Choose wise. You know now, right? You know now. He said it. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. It is a fearful thing. Not to everybody, though. Not everybody will. We love ourselves way too much, and we value who we are way too much, and we value Christ even less. It is why many preachers feel comfortable saying the things they say in direct confrontation of what God said. It is why they feel so comfortable. And it is why they lead many astray. It's why they do it because they honestly don't care about God. They just want what he offers. So no, it is not possible for you to have a need to forgive Jesus for anything because he was without sin. And you are lucky, blessed, and fortunate enough that he even gave you an option to be forgiven. And when you realize that, you will realize your place. You will stay in your lane and shut up You will stay in your lane and shut up. You will not put your fingers through the fence. You will not antagonize the lion. You will understand the power of a lion. It is why they tell you on a safari to not get out the car. When you're driving through, they don't tell you, hey, go pet the lion. Yeah, we're going through it. We're going through the safari. You can watch. Don't go try petting that. No, don't do that. You can go down into the ocean and look at a shark in a cage. Last statement. I'm a fan of C.S. Lewis, as many of you know. And I'm a big fan of the Narnia series, especially, too. There was one scene in the end of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe where Lucy is talking to Mr. Tumnus and Aslan is walking along, leaving after the battle. And Lucy is telling Mr. Tumnus he's a great lion. Yeah, he is. And Mr. Tumnus says, but he's not safe. Don't forget he's a lion. He's not safe. He's tame, but he's not safe. The reason he was telling Lucy that is don't ever forget who Aslan is. Aslan was a representation, of course, of God. The witch was a representation of the devil, who thought he had won, thinking he could kill Aslan on the stone table, and before too long, he didn't realize that he fulfilled the magic that was spoken about before. He didn't realize that doing that, you just fulfilled all of the prophecy and made your end for sure. And while Lucy was around Aslan that whole time, there were a couple of instances where Aslan would just roar at the witch, at enemies, and they would just cower. All that loud talk would just shut off when Aslan stood. We need to understand that while he allows you into his presence, never forget that he allows you into his presence. It is not because of who you are, it's because of who he is. You do not deserve an audience with God. We do not deserve an audience with God. He allowed it. He even went out of his way to give you a way to get into his presence. You don't deserve it. You didn't earn it. We didn't get this by great behavior. This came at great sacrifice on his part. There is nothing to forgive him for. There is everything that you need forgiveness for, though. And you don't have to believe that. But you know when you're going to find out? When you put your hand in the cage. And you know when else you could find out? When the cage finally gets open and the lion is allowed to just let go. When that day happens, then you're going to know. As much as I don't like movies and stuff anymore, Christopher Walken in that one little 2-minute segment of that, I forget the movie now, where he's talking about the lion sitting in the heat and the hyenas coming and nipping at him, and the women, the lionesses coming and talking, messing with him, and the kids coming to mess with him. And he said one day the lion just gets up and just tears through everybody. Ah! He said because sometimes the lion has to remind people who he is. That day is coming. That day is coming because people all too easily forget who he is. We forget. You're going to get reminded, though. You're going to get reminded. Never you worry, you're going to get reminded. Just make sure to keep the same braggadocious behavior, though. And then when he's done tearing you a new one, say, I forgive you. I want to see you try that one. Guarantee you won't get that chance. But go ahead and put yourself on the platform. Go ahead and put yourself as better than everybody's haughty. Go ahead, do that. Do that. Do that. never forget who we are and who he is. Savage Patriots will be on today, 6:30. Make sure you guys tune in. Scrolling at the bottom. And we'll be on tomorrow too on Rumble for our Rumble event. I do appreciate you guys' time. And I like I keep saying, if nothing else, if I accomplish nothing else at what time he has allotted me here, if there's one thing I can help people realize is your position before God and who he is, if I do that, if I've led you in any way to find a deeper relationship with him, I would have died content, because he would have pulled me back from the edge and allowed me in enough time to do this. And I know it wouldn't be because of me. I fully understand that. But whatever use I can be, I will be. Whatever use. Good example, bad example, whatever use. I prefer to be the good example, but at whatever use. But please don't squander the gift that he is by thinking you are better. You're not. We're not. We'll see you guys later today at 6:30 Eastern. Again, scrolling at the bottom for if you want to assist with this, feel free. If not, understandable. This is about you, between you and God, not between you and I. And we will talk later today. And see you guys later on Saturday as well. Too Strong dropped a bunch of videos. We'll be dropping a few more in the coming days here. We're actually supposed to record some today. And we'll catch up then. Wisdom calls to you from the streets. So please, please, please find wisdom. Peace.
Hold tight the dreams, for if dreams die.